thanks for being here. We're going to run through some kudos. Do have a little bit on the room for improvement side today. Hopefully, maybe we can have a little bit of discussion around two topics there. We'll run through our usual program metrics, any of the application updates. We do have some upcoming training dates, and hopefully we'll get some questions out of the way and get about our days. So is there anyone new on here today? I mean, I see some oldies with some goodies. All right. I won't make everybody introduce themselves Zoom style, but once again, thank you for being here with us. We got some kudos from a couple of agencies for some meetings over the last month. That's your background, Trish. Just a shout out again to Stoddard County. They got a good stoma save once again on a G-tube. They helped the family out. The family was very uncomfortable with changing out the gastric. They're able to show up, help the family, and then get a refusal on the call. Note, this is a kid who's kind of had a little bit of flux in his primary caregivers over the years, and so the current family he's with just wasn't quite as comfortable with his care. We wanted to give a shout out to Medic One. They took one of our original stars to his new home in Indiana. They were super responsive, and they actually gave Trish updates throughout the transport, and so it was a good story. We did finally graduate one of those kiddos out, as he'll be residing over there now. I wanted to give a shout out to SCAD too. Just they continue to work with us, sharing metrics with calls run, and that's kind of really helping us out on the background. I know Morella is appreciative, so I wanted to toss them in there for that. Thank you to Central County Dispatch for a number of things, as always, but most recently they just were helping some of our newer agencies who hadn't used the dispatching system as much, helping get them set up. So Miss Tiffany, I saw you on here, so I just wanted to thank you guys for that extra work that you're putting in on that side. So the first room for improvement that I kind of wanted to talk about was pediatric pain management. This is kind of a perennial topic, at least for us in pediatric education. We all know, from the national studies that the kids are just way undertreated on their pain. And so I included here, this is part of the national guidelines that Dr. Siegler shared with me. Just kind of an example of a standing protocol that can be in place to treat the kids. Some of the reason this came up, we had a recent STARS call with a kid who was pretty obviously in distress, and mom had even kind of called just for pain symptoms that this kid tends to exhibit. He is nonverbal, and so he kind of has some standard actions and ways he acts when he's in pain. And she had called for that. The medic kind of knew it. He actually called his report in, but asked to talk to a doc to give pain meds. The doc wasn't quickly available, and so they were not administered. Really, I will point out that this medic actually had standing orders that he could have given them under. So, he didn't necessarily have to ask. I get that maybe he was a little uncomfortable. And then there was some room for improvement on our side, on the hospital side, as, kind of addressing, that this is worthy of going to maybe find an attending and get the order to the crew for, so it was just something I wanted to bring up, just because we see it kind of very frequently in our outreach efforts. And just to, whether your agencies that you work with or work for already have standing for this, or if, they would consider changing to it or looking into this. This is just off NACIMSO's national guidelines for medical control and standing protocols. The other room for improvement that we kind of ran into recently that I thought was worthy of a discussion is just kind of some higher risk refusals. And once we saw this in a recent call, it kind of reminded me of all the other times I've seen it in my career in EMS. But the refusal where a medic kind of says, hey, you need to go to an urgent care of the ED, but maybe family could self-transport you and we won't take you. And I think that that's really kind of an incredibly dicey situation to put yourself in, because what are you really saying there? You're saying like, hey, this patient is sick enough that they need an urgent care provider or an emergent care provider, but you're not sick enough to be in my ambulance. And that's a tough call to make without all the diagnostic tools sometimes in your truck. So I just thought, it's a practice that, unfortunately, I think we probably have all witnessed at some point in EMS, and just something to really kind of discourage it, to stamp it out whenever you see it. And I kind of wanted to address it because, we talk about high risk refusal. We're talking about getting refusals on some of these kids, but I didn't want to give the impression that we're giving carte blanche to, hey, if you run on a STARS kid, you can just get a refusal and leave them there. I mean, that's clearly not the purpose. The idea is if it's part of their chronic condition and family is comfortable taking care of it, and yes, we can call a specialist and get a new piece of equipment delivered or follow up in a clinic visit, later that week. To me, that's okay. Maybe that's a reasonable situation. But for us to be there in a room and say, hey, you're sick enough that you need to see a physician at an urgent care or a physician at an ED, we just don't think you need to be in our truck for a transport. That is a much worse situation to put yourself in, and I cannot recommend it. If you're saying that patient's that sick, I mean, just go ahead and take them. And so I don't know if anybody had any other thoughts on that, but I just kind of wanted to point out that that's really a dangerous realm you're getting into in transport refusals. And so did anybody else have anything else they want to chime in on that? Cool. All right, I'm gonna go get down off the soapbox and we'll keep moving on. All right, here are our numbers. So we did have, I'm sorry, that's supposed to say July. We had 23 transports for the month of July. And we continue, we're actually getting pretty good capture on the majority of getting to trip sheets. There's just a handful outstanding that we have not seen yet. And then we had 2 non-transports that we know of, including Stoddard with that stoma save down there on their patient. Dispatches, we continue to see a little bit of wild variability, and I think that's to be expected until our numbers kind of iron out more. But we did have 16 kids dispatched for an emergency in the month of July. And this was the breakdown across the different providers that received those. And then for the emergency activation for people going in and tapping that button, we actually had an incredible parity between June and July, as we saw 56 in both. And then you can see our status by star, we actually gained 21 in July. I don't know if it's a one-off or not. It feels like the pace is picking up. It seems like both us and the children's team, our referral list is growing. So I think I kind of expect this to become the new norm, if not greater, as we just add more and more kids going forward. These were the medical directors that approved. So we actually, a fancy graph that Marilla puts together for us, but we track both Dr. Laffey and Dr. Siegler, and then the EMS medical directors that approve out from there. And then just keeping up with that significant parity across the summer in June and July, we had about 590 unique users log in throughout the month. So out of our total database, 2,200. I mean, that's still pretty good. A lot of those 2,200 are blind generic accounts, and so they don't necessarily log in. They just receive the messages. That plus the fact that you only have to log in once every 90 days, unless you're going for an emergency, which I hope you do. Log in, but that seems about commensurate with the right amount of numbers that should be getting in on a regular basis. All right, this award, I tell you what, Collinsville is quickly proceeding towards their pizza party we're going to have to throw for them for logging in each and every day. So thank you guys for keeping an eye out for your stars and for making this part of your process. I also got Central County in here. I cheat and just log in for the fun of it, mostly to beat Marilla. And then you can see everybody else. So just, thank you to the people who are logging in. One of the things that I really like about this list is how dispatch heavy it is. Just because, thank you, first of all, to our dispatch agencies. We do think that is a key step or a cornerstone in how we're going to build this going forward. And the fact that you guys are participating and available to send these calls, I think it really is paying dividends. So thank you guys. For some application updates, we just continue to work on a few new features, most of them behind the scenes that apply to the teams more. We are working on a thing where we can actually change the plan routing. That will make life easier, a little easier for the care plans. But it's something that in the end users, you kind of help us out with too. Like if we get the wrong medical director or we need to reroute to a regional medical director for a plan that's not going anywhere. That's something where you can say like, hey, we've been waiting on this kid. It's been a month, you know what's going on. Give that feedback to us. We will have the ability in September to kind of manipulate those plans a little bit more and get them to where they need to be. And then user verification will just be something I talk through throughout the rest of the year. It is currently implemented for any new users put on, but for all of you at your agencies who are already grandfathered in, who are already part of STARS, we are just periodically going to go in and make you verify your users, just saying like, hey, this is an active account, this isn't an active account. It makes them test their email and their phone number if it's in there, just with that access code, security code, so we can make sure that those are all valid contact points for us to send STARS information to. Something else that came up on the IT front over this summer, as I am sure we're all aware watching the news, IT security, and there's all these different kinds of ransomware attacks, and it's just become unfortunately more of a thing in our modern day society. Well, as all of your systems have grown more sophisticated, unfortunately, some of your email filters are filtering out our STARS emails. So this is actually just the simple list of that your IT security just needs to put in and whitelist so that you can receive all emails from the STARS application. I can provide this in an email too, if any of you need it in a separate email outside of this screen. You don't feel like you have to scribble all those down. Anyways, I'll send that out with an email just so everybody can be kind of aware of that. I will say that as frustrating as it is when we run into that this is very quickly solving it. I know we solved it with Creve Coeur, with SCAD, and I want to say with one of the other hospital systems where we were getting blocked. So just kind of know that that's a thing. We have our upcoming call review on Gina and I are going to do that on the last Monday of this month. Just go over about an hour's worth of STARS calls and just some different things going on with those. And then we have another one in December. And then we're kind of getting out and about again in the classrooms. We have Hazelwood this week, and a few others are being scheduled out for September. So if you guys have any interest in us coming out, unfortunately, I think we're still far from the days where we can put together a big symposium or put a lot of people in a room, but we are starting to do it piecemeal, group by group again. Also virtually, I mean, that's pretty much unlimited. So I know some of your practitioners are tired of doing Zoom training, but we are available. And if you just want a quick way to pop some learning in or to talk about something, if you have something that comes up with one of your kids, and it's better, sometimes when an event happens, sometimes it's better to hit it quickly. We're very available to pop in for an hour with one of your agencies, with one of your crews, however you want to do it, and just kind of talk through that situation and provide some of our training points along with that. All right, nobody bothered to slow me down, so here we are at 9:15. Do anything for open forum? Did you have anything, Trish, that you wanted to address for this one? You're muted, Trish.
No, I don't think so. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Remember, we're always available. If you don't have any, we open the chat and make sure. Let's talk about this pizza party for Collinsville. We hear you. We hear you, Andrea. Oh, yes, Jamie. I'll send you out an email. I'm going to be in your area soon. So, and I will send you a video one as well, but we'll be down there for hands-on. So next month I'll be down south. So.
Oh no, Stephanie, feel targeted. I'm sorry.
I was kidding when you said some old faces. I have a request, and it's not a quick request, but maybe long-term request. Is there a way, you know how Epic has the most recent picture from the doctor's office? Is there a way to put pictures in the star system?
Yeah, we're trying. That's, I always try to capture one. I always ask parents to send one. Sometimes I grab the Epic one and enlarge it. Because I love that. I think that's really helpful. So yeah, long term, I mean, we can continue to try to get those more often.
Yeah,
So
I just looked up the star you were emailing me about, and she looks totally different than the last time I saw her. So I was thinking, you know.
Okay.
you know,
yes. Oh yes. Yes. So I will, she would be a great one to have a photo of. But yeah, I think it also captures so much more of their baseline. You know, there's so much we can write. And then I think if you get that one photo of, okay, that really tells me that picture speaks 1,000, you know, so.
And I did look up that address is St. Charles City Fire, so they should have the report for you.
Is it really?
Yep, it's right across from their house floor.
Thank you. So.
Another thing that had come up, Ms. Steph, just, you know, I know that you're having to do lots of work to make the plans all accessible to all your crews for right now. We kind of were against doing automated every time any care plan writer makes a change on a plan, automatically notifying the SP admin, only because I might drive you crazy with the number of times I go in and change like a spelling thing or just update a single med or delete something. But our long-term goal for the rest of the year, well, one thing we've talked about is we'd like to have a button where it's up to the person who edits the plan's discretion, but if they make enough changes and it just says, you know, notify all pertinent people, you know, that this plan's been changed or something like that. So that is something that we've discussed and is on the roadmap.
Thanks.
Nick Salzman changed a comma. Drive you crazy. Also, was there anything else? Cool. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody, for spending your time with us this Tuesday morning. We'll look forward to seeing you next month, and we're always available by phone or email if you need us in between. So have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Everybody stay safe and stay well.
Later. Bye, Terry. Bye, Trish. Bye, Josh. Bye, Nick. Bye, everybody else.
Bye, everyone. Bye.